Hi, welcome to Fight Club. Sorry, I mean movie only. Today we're about to break the first rule and discuss what I truly believe to be one of the greatest films ever made. Tyler Durden, he's created one of the most interesting characters in fiction. Furthermore, Fincher's directing is second to none. The cinematography, the acting, it's all top-notch. Then there's this, never has a film so skillfully thrust insightful philosophy in front of the eyes of the masses. What follows is my take on the philosophy of Tyler Durden. The poison. Materialism. Working jobs we hate so we can buy shit we don't need. I will explain all this topic detailedly. Fight Club is first and foremost a critique of modernity. The first section of the movie introduces us to the unfulfilling life of a cynical and depressed automobile recall specialist, Jack, as named in the credits. He seeks relief in buying contemporary IKEA furniture for his flat, has no passion for his job, is lonely, and suffers from chronic insomnia. Returning home one day, Jack discovers an explosion has destroyed his flat and all his possessions. Hopeless and homeless, something drives him to make contact with an eccentric stranger he met on the plane, Tyler Durden. They meet up for a drink at Lou's bar, where Tyler intrigues Jack with his unconventional, anti-materialist stance. Thus begins one of the most enlightening scenes in the whole movie regarding Tyler's philosophy. Tyler asks Jack what we essentially are. Consumers is the answer given. Not humans or social or spiritual beings, but consumers, cogs in an economic machine. This notion of who we are has seeped into the cultural narrative, supported by advertising, social and mass media. Tyler later makes this point at one of the Fight Club meetings. Advertising has us chasing cars and clothes, working jobs we hate so we can buy shit we don't need. Consider recent discussions of political decisions or national events. There is often an unnatural weighting applied toward the economy as if it is to be prioritized above even general happiness and lives. Young people look up to those whose lifestyle they want, not those who have sacrificed in the name of principle, social currency bought with envy, not respect. These are strong signifiers of the social imbalance that an economics-obsessed system, devoid of counterbalancing wisdom. Well, you did lose a lot of versatile solutions for modern living. In the same scene, Jack laments the loss of his possessions as they share a pitcher of beer. In response, Tyler sarcastically references the cyclical nature of consumerist progress. Well, you did lose a lot of versatile solutions for modern living. The point is, as a society, we create problems, often lack of time, which are then solved with improved products. Modern solutions for modern problems. The thing is, studies have shown our happiness is more closely related to relative, rather than absolute, wealth and status, how we compare to those around us. Strengthening a developed economy and improving technology does little for the average person's happiness because it provides them with no relative advantage, especially when the gap between rich and poor grows. Yet we expend such significant human effort creating more advanced TVs, phones, and cars, and then consuming them, playing into the hands of the power structure, rather than attempting to modulate it. Modernity, the illusion of evolution. The things you own end up owning you. As Tyler continues to wax philosophical in Lou's bar, he takes the critique further, pointing out that consumer culture has reduced us to obedient slaves. The things you own end up owning you. The more we join the rat race, the more we compare our material success with others and become psychologically beholden to their judgment. We neurotically chase materialistic perfection and social status to the detriment of all else. It's a system that predates on living things, turning us, and other animals, into means to economic ends. The consequences extend far beyond wasting our own lives and feeling unfulfilled. Though countries fight wars and millions die, not for the greater good, but for profit. The natural world is destroyed so we can have more unnecessary things. What's worse is this has become normalized. And through normalization, it has become normalized. And through normalization, it has become accepted. Consumer culture is the new religion. Facebook and Apple are our idols. Serving them is our primary function, and like a cult it's brainwashing us, owning us. Tyler is hypersensitive to the inappropriateness of this repression of the natural self. Our Great Depression is our lives. A key turning point of the movie occurs when Jack, dismissed by his doctor because his insomnia has no obvious physical signs, resorts to joining cancer/disease support groups. Posing as a sufferer. The sympathy he receives cures his chronic insomnia, and so he keeps returning. The madness of our culture is perfectly portrayed here. Jack has to masquerade his emotional suffering as physical in order to be taken seriously. Indeed, our emotional well-being is undervalued. How much easier is it to get medical care for a physical ailment than a mental one? The reason is simple: you can still work if you are depressed, you can't if you have a broken arm. In fact, mild depression is somewhat useful, economically, as a catalyst for retail therapy. Mental health degradation is caused in large part by social policy. Consumerism, advertising, lack of sleep, disconnection, low-income stress are all culturally avoidable. But it's seen as an individual's problem. If you're depressed because you're sensitive to the suffering in the world, it's up to you to be less sensitive. If trauma has been passed down from oppressed generation to generation, it's up to you to deal with the fallout. And then, like economically worthless male chicks, the mentally exhausted are crushed up and shipped off to Big Pharma, the last bit of profit and power wrung from them before their spirits keel over and die. Murder, poverty, crime, these things don't concern me. What concerns me is having some guy's name on my underwear. Jack is captivated as his mentor furthers the doctrine. Tyler points out how our individualistic frame of mind means we lose care for social matters, we lack values. Amidst so much social pressure to conform, we repress the feeling that the world isn't right. Worse than this, society actually encourages us to be more psychopathic. Studies have suggested that a disproportionate amount of the financially successful have strong traits of functional psychopathy. Conversely, those who are most sensitive to atrocities carried out around the world are often ridiculed. Consider the commonality of anti-vegan rhetoric. Our social system rewards psychopathy over empathy, so we numb ourselves with escapist activities, all the while living in mild depression. How many of us think about the impending doom of environmental catastrophe each day? Yet recognize the gravity of the situation when we are confronted with it? How many of us consider the exploitation carried out by corporate interests when we wake up? Are these not more pressing events, really, than what new couch to buy? Like trauma victims, we dissociate from all the horror around us and pretend nothing is going on. We resemble groomed drug addicts accepting hits of heroin to turn a blind eye to abuse. The modern struggle. Our great war is a spiritual war. After they meet in Lou's bar for the first war, which encapsulates the underlying wisdom of Fight Club. Humanity is, unwittingly, engulfed in a spiritual war. The old, self-centered forces of Nietzsche's will to power battle the new, connected will of a less primitive, more spiritual form. Selfishness versus empathy. Materialism versus immaterialism. The satisfaction of visceral, primal urges versus a more subtle, deeper sense of well-being. The antidote. Independence. Self-improvement's masturbation, now self-destruction. There is a prescribed antidote to this social malaise, but it is less obvious than the critique as it's not explicitly stated by Tyler. So we have to look at repeated themes. Tyler Durden is hypermasculine and impervious to social norms. He is self-destructive with regard to a social image, the egotistical, usually fake, self-representation that one presents to others. He says whatever he believes and has alpha confidence in his contrarian views. This is freedom of the mind through relief from social ambition. Why is this so important in Tyler's philosophy? Well, because you have to be nonconformist if you want to walk the path of the maverick and discover the truth. This is the crucial first step in becoming the antidote to the current system. If you care too much about your image, you will be psychologically drawn to whatever helps you fit in, and that extends to party-line belief systems. Everything starts and ends with beliefs. Thank you for watching the video. If you like the video, please subscribe the channel for more video like this.